Nerdrotic.com.
In isolation, any scene is fine. But we're talking about Marvel Comics has a thing of being known about people sitting around stuffing their face and talking about their feelings. That's what it kind of descended into, to where it's a meme now. And now they're doing the exact, so it's my whole video is about. They're making the exact, not different mistakes, the exact same mistakes that Marvel Comics made. Like
Secret Invasion had one of these scenes.
I thought you were trying to do the Robin Hood theme there.
That's this is Robin Hood what it sounded like.
They wrote right. They brought people on who wrote the comics, talk about feelings, sitting down eating, talking about feelings, because those people were making the comics with the hope that they're gonna get picked up as TV shows, because this is how TV shows do it. In a TV show, people go somewhere and they sit down and they eat and they talk about things. So they turned the comics into that, and this is now TV. This is what they've wanted.
It's also what they talk about here. Okay, so
feelings, probably.
Yeah.
Food, feelings. Oh, I don't care.
Listen, Loki is not even eating the pie.
That bothered me about this episode or this scene too.
He's not eating it. Not even.
Well, look at it. It looks radioactive.
He's probably vegan.
It happens. You know, sometimes the rage builds up and you just gotta let it out. You remember that time? I was so angry with my father and my brother. I went down to Earth and I held the whole of New York City hostage with an alien army. Tried to use the Mind Stone on Tony Stark. It didn't work. So I threw him off the building. I mean, let me say something. Wasn't tactical. Yeah. So I lost it.
Stop. So this Loki is like, we don't know how much time has passed. It could be a fucking week. It could be 2 weeks. But no, it's in isolation. It's fine, but it's not in isolation. This is what this is a microcosm of what Marvel's been doing since Endgame, which is just shitting on their older characters, shitting on their old storylines, and making it so flippant and nothing. Like it's just a little conversation over key lime pie. And it takes away all the stakes. It's like, oh, if you don't care, why the fuck should I care? Why should I care at this point? And like, these stories do not matter to these people, and they're really they're shitting on their best Avengers movies. The first one, they're shitting on Loki. This Loki is not that far removed.
It's disdain, you know. It just reeks of like a lot of people who are working on this who really don't care about any of these characters or any of these storylines. They're not comic book nerds at all, and you know they're just getting a paycheck, and they have a lot of hatred for comic book fans, I guess. I don't know. That's what happened with Game of Thrones season 8. I feel like D&D just like hated the fans so much, and they're just like, here, we're gonna ruin your fucking show, and you're just like, why? Like, I'm sorry we made you millions of dollars. Like, oh my god.
Also, this scene really bothers me because it
so
undermines something. Like, if Loki is truly sorry for what he did in the past, like if you actually want a redemption arc for a villain, right? If you, I think anyone can relate to this. If you ever done something that was truly astronomically bad, that you feel really bad about it, you're usually really reluctant to talk about it because you don't like to remember that part. Loki is talking about an event in his life where he murdered thousands of people, right? And he's supposed to feel bad. He's supposed to feel bad about this. And he's just flipping it out like it's a joke, right? And it's like you see no true regret in his heart at all or anything like that. And it just makes his character feel like a hollow, fake, you know, representation of what they're trying to present him to be. And so
Shadi doesn't want to eat his pie. He's so back. Doesn't want to eat it.
I was going back through Avengers clips. Like, he is such a badass in that movie. Like, I am burdened with glorious purpose. Like that scene, and when he's talking to Black Widow, muling Quim. You know, like he's such like, you know, he's obviously he's not right. He's the villain, but he's got so much presence. And in here, he's just so deluded.
Brad was right. He needs to be a villain. You know.
Yes.
Like I was agreeing with Brad. I was like, please bring it out in him. I miss it. It's so sexy when he's a villain.
And when he did, it wasn't like what I would. So there's 2 scenes in this episode. Oh my god, my baby's crying.
I also hated it because he's like, you're a loser. You've always been a loser. You're great at being the villain.
What are you talking about?
But yeah, if you're just a fucking loser, you're not really a great villain. Like, obviously, the villain will lose in these stories, but you wouldn't portray that in universe that way.
But he's still the god of mischief, and this just seems like Lance in HR.
Yeah.
That's.
I was really confused about Sylvie and his relationship because like weren't they like tight? They just like had a different opinion about what to do with He Who Remains, and she kissed him and kicked him through the time door. But then like she sees him, she's like, "Ew, what are you doing here?"
Yeah,
you know?
and
it's like, wait, what?
That was
like,
X
what?
vibes. That was X vibes right there. Seeing
Right.
your
It
ex
was,
again.
and it's like I don't understand why she would be so mad at him. Like, other than he's judging her for violence against minorities. You know what I mean? Like maybe that's the whole issue. But it was really awkward and weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just on Gary, what you said, where it feels like you're watching Gary from HR or someone like that, right?
Lance.
Like Lance. That hits in
Gary,
that, like
it's
you
fine.
touch on something like Gary, Loki, right? He used to have this gravitas and he would always be in his Asgardian outfit and he had power and presence, right? Now you just see him sitting down in regular clothes eating a pie. And it ruins this kind of presence that he had as a character. Can you imagine Thanos in that scene wearing regular clothes, just eating pie and talking with someone? You've just ruined the kind of.
I can imagine them doing that.
Look at how
I'm surprised they haven't yet.
You just gave him the next Marvel What If idea.
You
Shad.
did.
Good job.
Thanks.
No, I got excited when the shadow guys came and then you saw the horns. I was like, "Ooh, is he wearing his cool helmet?" I like his tux though. I did like his little frilly tux. I thought it was kind of.
He looks good.
Yeah, he looked good.
That was a
Like,
good scene, and it stood out like a sore thumb because he was being Loki for a minute.
Right.
Like, oh,
Yes.
wait,
I know, just for
where's
a minute, I
this
was like,
been?
"Oh,
You know?
yeah."
For a second, you're like, oh, there it is. Oh.
Oh,
It's gone.
Remember when like Thor: The Dark World came out and it was kind of like panned? You go back and watch that now; it's a fucking Shakespearean masterpiece.
Yes, it is.
Compared to like the stuff they're shoveling out of current modern day MCU. When you look at like Odin's lines and things, man.
Yeah.
It's just,
well, wasn't that Kenneth Branagh? Didn't he direct
Yeah.
that?
He did the first one.
I
He did
know,
the first
yeah,
first
yeah,
one.
And then
There you go.
it was a Game of Thrones director who did the second one. I'm blanking on his name now,
Mm.
but he had a horrible experience and left. You know,
Wow.
It's-
Weird.
Shocker.
Sounds like any actual creative directors have that same kind of experience.
Yeah, it seems like a pattern of behavior.
it's a bit of a pattern.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.
Hey, if you like what we do here at Nerdrotic Daily, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you could do that with your favorite YouTuber as well, I'm sure they would appreciate it as much as I do.